Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for being with us. I know these are tough times for all of
Thank
us.
you.
So, thanks for spending time. So, sir, I think I'll start with looking at the current situation, the pandemic we are facing, and because of which governments are looking at new ways of uh, looking at business continuity, providing access to the employees, uh, going also on public cloud as well for some part of their application, opening it up. I will say opening it up for better ease of access, but security somewhere gets impacted in the entire process. From a cybersecurity perspective, sir, I like to know about what are the various initiative and functioning of the government in the context of cybersecurity. So we'd like to share some highlights to that.
Yeah. So thank you, Prashant ji. Am I audible?
Yeah, absolutely, sir.
Yeah. So thank you, Prashant ji, and thank you governance now for having invited me on this particular panel. I like to start with the government perspective of how are we managing security. So first of all, I mean, starting from IT Act itself, wherein the institutions of Computer Emergency Response Team, institutions of NCIIPC for critical infrastructure have been set up, and particularly from an incident response perspective, there are regular advisories and there are regular updates coming from Computer Emergency Response Team. From ministry perspective, as you may be aware, long back, in fact, we had come up with roles and responsibilities of CISOs, and that was like setting a role model. In fact, we asked not only in private sectors, but in government also, particularly in government, it's very important to have a well-designated CISO who knows his her responsibilities. So that was one thing which we took up. We for long now had been conducting, in fact, Cyber Surakshit Bharat program on a PPP mode with active participation from the industry as our faculty members, but that was being done in an offline mode. And all of a sudden, now we realize that maybe our whole strategy of how are we going to conduct it has to be changed. From a cyber crime perspective also, we know, I mean, that there is a huge shortage of the professionals well aware of, I should say, the investigation part, the cyber law part, and the forensics part. And that is where, in fact, long before the COVID-19 problem itself, we had started working on a hybrid model, online version of a cyber diploma in cyber laws, digital investigation, and cyber forensics for police people, for public prosecutors, for judiciary. And in fact, very shortly, we are going to launch it. And now that everything has gone online, and this program was already being planned in an online version with some experiments being done in the offline world through the labs, in the labs. Maybe lab part we will have to see as to how do we do it, but rest of the things are going to be online, and hopefully in the month of July itself, we are going to have it in place. Now, coming to the bit about the security as well as the law part, on the 20th March itself, MeitY, as the initiative, I mean, we were aware that maybe as the corona problem is likely to grow and maybe lockdown may happen, that there is going to be a lot of fake news, particularly on the web, in the cyberspace. On 20th of March, therefore, we issued an advisory to all social media sites to be aware of this particular problem, cognizant of this particular problem, and take off any such information, I mean, any such misinformation, any such fake news, which is likely to cause a damage, likely to break the harmony, social fabric, and MeitY being particularly empowered to block certain URLs in case there are issues of national security, defense, or public order. We therefore, in terms of Section 69A of the IT Act, we realized that all of a sudden our work for 69A requests for blocking has gone up. And to that an extent, while we used to have maybe one meeting in every 15 days, now I'm conducting one meeting almost every day. And all these meetings, of course, are being done on the VC. Luckily, within government, we have our own VC platform. And realizing that one single platform will not be good enough, MeitY on the MyGov platform has already launched a grand challenge for identifying suitable VC solutions for use by government. Within government, we started using e-file in a big way. Normally, we were avoiding using it. I mean, somehow government is always comfortable using physical files. But during this period, therefore, everybody was given a VPN connectivity. Almost everyone means everyone who mattered was given a VPN connectivity, and barring classified information and secret information, which we also deal sometimes, that we have switched over to VPN. So there is a high, I should say, usage of VPN, and CERT-IN for that reason has been issuing advisories to ensure, because even the corporate world is moving to VPN, that the VPN security is going to become important, and therefore few advisories have been issued by CERT-IN. In fact, about 13 specific advisories have been issued by CERT-IN for the common citizens, for the organizations, for the critical infrastructure protection, and other things. Realizing that VCs are going to be the major way of connecting with each other. In fact, CERT-IN also came up with advisory on Zoom and the safe usage of Zoom. So while the advisory was issued in the form of, I should say, what are the safety features which should be used in, I should say, Zoom, but practically those safety features apply to any, I should say, VC, which is being used by the various organizations and platforms as on today. Of course, we also have information security education and awareness program of MeitY, wherein we keep talking on various security educational programs. So ISEA also has worked actively to come up with all COVID-19 related security aspects. In fact, yesterday, HRD Minister has also launched a book on cyber security for students. So a lot of effort has happened, and Arogya Setu, finally, you must already be aware of, must have already downloaded.
Yes.
The privacy issues, the security issues, the data integrity issues, all of them are being attempted from the government side. Yeah, it was a long
Sir, I think these are great.
to a short question.
Yeah, so no, absolutely. And I think these were great inputs, because while I think most of us may not know how much work is happening behind the scene, looking at the current situation, while there are organizations like CERT and MPIC, they're doing a lot of work over there. I think what's most important point you highlighted, it's not just about the work happening, the cyber law also need to align with current situation. And I think there are a lot of addendums being coming in terms of the changes which are happening on the cyber law, so which is need of the hour. And I'm sure I think a lot of other cyber laws and a lot of changes will keep happening over there. So one more point I wanted to ask you, while cyber threats and cyber security is pushing for new cyber laws, because we are opening up a lot of our infrastructure for employees who can work from home. We are deploying some of our applications on public cloud. So do they also, one is pose security threat, At the same time, are there some laws being looked after to address some of these challenges?
Yeah, so particularly on the cloud security, in fact, first of all, cloud usage perspective, MeitY long back had empaneled a number of cloud security, cloud service providers, and that was done based on a proper audit from our side, from ST. We deployed this, used the services of STQC for doing that, and security is definitely one of the criteria, which was looked into. And in fact, the whole Arogya Setu today is running on cloud service providers to be able to utilize full potential of the scalability aspects. But security, specific security guidelines is the need of the hour, and we will be looking into it. From our perspective, in fact, while the PDP bill is already there, and let's see as to what happens with respect to that. We were working on the intermediary guidelines, and that is where issues particularly relating to the challenges that we are finding now because of the greater and enhanced usage of social media is that what we are going to cover. We have also initiated otherwise the activity of IT Act amendment. Of course, that's a long drawn process, but the process has been initiated, and inputs are being gathered initially from government departments, and at an appropriate time will also be approaching to the industry. But yes, I do feel security, particularly in the new environment, has to be relooked at and to be seen as to how do we strengthen. So we know there is a need to strengthen the CERT and NCIPC kind of institutions within government.
Sure, thank you, sir. And one last question right now, sir. Any recommendation for various states, central government, and basically government departments on the framework of security? How I know there's a lot of work happening at the back end, but is there any highlights you want to share that what should be on a high level which government department should be looking at?
Yeah, so basically, within government, particularly within central government, security, functionality, performance, scalability, security, all these aspects per se are seen by NIC. For the government, for the websites, we already have a GIGW, Government of India guidelines for websites, which do cover comprehensively all aspects, including the security. For the I should say work from home culture, CERT-IN has been issuing regular advisories, and that's the framework which is going to be used. But beyond that, on a need-to-need basis, we will be coming up. But simultaneously, I do feel that particularly now that everybody is working, of course, through laptops, but also a great number is working through mobiles, that the mobile security aspect needs to be relooked at, and capability in terms of creating enough of infrastructure to ensure security in mobile ecosystem is the need, and we need to look into it. And from a government perspective, we are also looking at as to how the whole supply chain in the electronics, in the consumer electronics, in the mobiles is really taken care of to ensure security in the overall product as well as in the ecosystem in which we work.
Sure. Thank you very much, sir. And I think these last lines were most important, where you said that security need to be looked at from an intrinsic perspective, not just the cloud separately and devices separately. I think whether it's any cloud, any device, or any application, I think it need to be looked at from a holistic and a contextual perspective, where then government will be able to define a larger framework and provide end-to-end security. So thank you very much, sir. I think for your time. I think these were really great insights, and looking. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so I also look forward to as well maybe meet you separately as well as I like to thank governance now once again, giving me this opportunity to present government's view, some of the government's view on security in this particular platform. Thank you.
Thank you.